There's been a lot of issues this year with private stuff going on behind the scenes, and it keeps kind of screwing a lot of stuff up for us, appointments and all kinds of stuff. I'm not telling you anything because you don't deserve to know. I'm saying it now publicly in front of everyone here, and now, of course, this will be clipped and go viral. You are a weirdo when it comes to talking about my fucking wife. And once again, it's stuff that I can't do anything about. It's not like I can handle it or hell. I just got to know that it's going on, and I have no control over anything. Now, moving forward, I don't know if Wednesdays will continue to be my day off or not. I will let you guys know once I know. I know a lot of people say a lot of questions. They want to know what's going on, what's going on. I can't tell you everything going on for privacy reasons because of people who are very, very intrusive.
Sometimes when I listen to DSP and the way he talks, I can't hear anything other than this dude cutting a promo. You know, a lot of people have been asking a lot of questions and they want to know what's going on, what's going on. I don't know. All I know is I will never leave Raw and I will always be the king of hate. This truly is what decades of wrestling can do to your brain. No wonder he can't communicate with other people. Dude thinks that he has to go and sell every line that comes out of his mouth as if he is exactly cutting a promo. But fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess, depending on who you are, this is where the promo stops and we can get back into the actual pathetic nonsense that DSP usually talks about.
And people who have a lot of, they want to be harassing us and my family and everything. What I can say is a few quick things, okay? There's been a lot of issues this year with health. There's been a lot of issues this year with private stuff going on behind the scenes, and it keeps kind of screwing a lot of stuff up for us, appointments and all kinds of stuff. And without saying too much, that's why things are kind of chaotic right now.
Without saying too much, the fact that you even mentioned that there are health issues and private things behind the scenes is too much information, and I don't know how you don't understand that. He knows the kinds of people that keep up with him, he knows the kind of people that are listening to his every single word, and he absolutely knows how quickly something like this can turn into a much bigger and well thought out Theo theory. Nobody ever needed to know that this was medically related. He very easily could have said, anything else, and just made up a lie. I mean, he lies every other time he opens his mouth. Why is this the one time that he decides to be honest? At least I hope he's being honest, because I don't think that right now is exactly the best time to be lying about any sort of medical style issue.
Like, we don't know when our day off will be. We don't know what our schedule is. It's kind of all over the place, okay? So immediately this person gets banned. This idiot says, DSP has cancer. No, but you're banned from my chat permanently for saying that. Because don't you think that if there was something serious like that, that I would tell you, right?
Well, if it's not that serious, then why would you be sat here telling everybody about it? If it weren't a big deal, why wouldn't you just say what it is? It's this kind of behavior that spawns all of the conspiracies. It's as if he's sprinkling just enough info out there to get people talking about him just so that he can complain about people speculating on the information that he gave out. It really is a cyclical style cycle, the only way that a cycle could really be, obviously. This is why I'll never be sure if he's playing 5D chess or just incredibly dumb. Maybe being this dumb just allows you to live in a different style reality that I'll just never understand. Regardless of whether he's playing 9-dimensional chess or just stupid, the choices that he's actively making are not good for his image in any capacity. And I just can't see how it would be a benefit to him to make himself look dumber than he already does, given how his numbers already look, given how his support already looks daily on the streams. Also, by being as vague as he is, he's also leaving his wife open as a target for these speculations. I would think that as her husband, he would, I don't know, not want that to be the case, that he would not want his wife as the target for the internet's ire. All he had to do was follow the damn say that her schedule got changed at work because she works retail and he doesn't know when his day is going to be off. It really is as simple as it gets. If you were to just stick to that story and move on, I don't think that there would be these rampant speculations. I don't think there would be any Theo theories about Kat's health and her diabetes. But of course, DSP really is the worst liar, despite how often he decides to do it. So coming up with a simple explanation that can be very easily written off as true was never in his deck of cards. He was always going to find a way to turn this into a bigger spectacle than it had any business being.
So you can shut the fuck up and go away and never come back. You immediately got to go to the most dramatic, awful thing because you like drama. Don't come back, okay? Like I said, it's personal things behind the scenes going on. Yes, health is one of them, but there's other things as well. And because of that, it's been screwing up a lot of stuff in our lives. It's not just me. It's not just my wife. It's both of us that have a stake in this and are affected by it. and it makes it so that it's not consistent. And that sucks, because basically what I would like to do is have consistency and have safety and have a routine and have all of that. And for the most part, I've had that. And now things are kind of getting shaken up, and there's nothing I can really do about it.
Imagine that, yet another thing in DSP's life that he totally has no power to control and has nothing to do with him because he did everything correct. It's crazy to me that he talks about real life the exact same way that he talks about video games. It's all the same cope, whether real or virtual. What absolutely stuck out the most to me though is actually his blatant admittance to feeling safety in his consistency. I don't know if it's actually appropriate to say that he has some sort of tism by any means, but that's definitely a tism style quality if I've ever heard of one. And this is coming from someone who also very much appreciates when things are scheduled and properly planned. But the level that DSP takes it to on a daily basis with the schedule though is just otherworldly. And I've never seen anybody who is more vehemently against changing the schedule that they created and isn't actually determined by anything, despite it making the most sense in the moment. He actually refuses to make any sort of changes to the schedule despite it being at the detriment to his own stream, to his own source of income. He's willing to do everything under the sun for more money except be entertaining, except to do what people want when they want him to do it because it doesn't fit his schedule that way. I do of course want to point out yet again that none of this information ever had to be shared. He loves to talk about how he has this great work and home life separation, but gets on stream and does this. If you're gonna be a horrible person, if you're gonna be a liar and a scammer and the physical embodiment of all of the 7 deadly sins, the least you could do is not lie about it, you know? I think that a little bit of honesty would go a very long way.
In life, that's one of the worst things for me anyway, is when you're in a situation where it's a bad situation or not an ideal situation, and it doesn't matter what you do, you can't really do anything to change it. You don't really have power over it. There's nothing you can do about it. I hate that in life. And the older I get, that's what happens more often. And it's like, it sucks, right? And that's the situation that we're in right now, right?
Why is he so accepting of this though? Why does he so often just accept none of the responsibilities? I would think that as you get older, there's actually more that you have control over when it comes to your life. As you come out from under debts, as you progress in your profession, as you get wiser with every day, shouldn't there be more things that you have control over? It's not like he has kids or family members or anything that are constantly throwing a wrench into the plans. The only variable in his life really is his wife and his cat, and I highly doubt that they are by any means unpredictable. In fact, they probably like their schedules and routines just as much as DSP does. So why does he want to sit here and pretend as if everything in his life is always out of control? It just doesn't make any sense to me, dude. When your scope of responsibilities are as limited as they are for DSP, you would think that he'd be able to take care of them, but apparently not. That would have required him to actually be an adult rather than a man-child that is LARPing as one.
When you ask things like, why haven't Phil and Kat done that co-op of Beyond Two Souls that was promised to us, which by the way, it wasn't promised, but when it was promised to us months ago, this is one of the reasons why, okay? Because our schedule's not consistent, because our health isn't consistent, and you're not going to do that kind of stuff until it's solidified. What's the point of trying to force one stream, and then you don't know when you can do the next one, or the stream ends up being shitty? There's no point, right?
If you're canceling the stream for poor quality, I just have to ask that you uninstall OBS right now. Genuinely. Of course, this is all just nonsense excuses as to why she can't do the streams. It was obvious to everyone that Kat had no interest in playing games with him any further than she already has. I love that he couldn't talk about him canceling that stream without somehow communicating that he thinks people who were expecting the stream at all were entitled and misunderstood the situation, as if they were never promised, as if he never said that he was going to do the stream. It's almost like if it were so uncertain that the streams would happen, then maybe he shouldn't have brought it up at all. Maybe he shouldn't have drawn any more attention to the fact that his wife didn't want anything more to do with his streams. Strange to me that she wouldn't want anything more to do with his fun and meaningful content, but everybody saw how she looked on those streams. Everybody saw how bad of a time she was having. It was probably a shock to everybody when he announced that he was even thinking about doing more co-op with her after how the last one ended. It's just sad and outright shameful that DSP has used both of the women that have decided to give him a chance romantically as a cheap way to try and spice up his slop content and make it any more digestible.
So you got to understand that, and I hope you'll be understanding of that. And I'm sorry that I can't be more consistent with my scheduling. I wish I could be. I wish that we could have scheduled the co-op. You know, it is what it is. It's life. We're dealing with it here behind the scenes. And please be understanding of it. A lot of people won't hear this clip, and then they're going to still come and pester and ask, why is he not here on the same days? Why doesn't he do the co-op? Listen, it's all right. I'm not going to get angry about that. All right. But of course, again, there's the people on the internet who want to over dramatize everything, who want to turn everything into fucking, something for their own personal benefit because they love drama. They're a bunch of fucking rumor mongers, right? What's the latest buzz? What's the latest drama news that you've heard, right? Gossip, gossip, gossip. Well, gossip this, bitches. I'm not telling you anything because you don't deserve to know. Maybe if there were people out there who were actually nice and could handle news, then maybe I would actually tell you everything that's going on, but I know that they can't. So, no, I'm not going to tell you everything going on. It's just life, okay?
So this whole segment was meant for the trolls then. Nice to know all of the detractors are still living rent-free and dictating everything he says, even though he totally doesn't care what others think, you guys. What he doesn't seem to realize is by doing it this way, he actually feeds those same exact rumor cycles, or whatever he wants to call them. When it comes to the case of drama hounds wanting to turn everything into personal benefit, isn't DSP the person who has monetized not only one, but two friends' deaths? He's crazy to be acting like he's better than anyone else because when it comes to profiting off others, DSP will go to deplorable lengths. And that's before even addressing all of the call-outs and squabbles that he's gotten himself into with other content creators on the platform. Content creators that, without him ever calling them out and talking about them, would have never even have known that he existed. That's how insignificant he truly is in the ecosystem that is YouTube. A little departure from day off talk, but still cat related, DSP finally addressed BITW Awesome. It was astonishing to everyone, I'm sure, that it was never addressed before, given BIT's supernatural ability to always be there with the same exact thing to say.
All right. Sorry, but I have to do something here publicly today. BITW Awesome, listen, you're a longtime viewer, and you comment on a lot of videos, and you actually are a very positive part of certain streams. But you also say the weirdest fucking shit, and particularly you say a lot about my wife, and I've had enough. You have to fucking stop right now. I'm saying it now publicly in front of everyone here, and now, of course, this will be clipped and go viral. You are a weirdo when it comes to talking about my fucking wife. No one wants to see you on every video say romance Catherine like a weirdo. No one wants to see you say something in the chat like Catherine will get jealous of Princess Peach. You're fucked in the head, dude. My wife isn't like that. She doesn't know who you are or what the fuck you're talking about. You have to shut the fuck up about my wife. You're obviously obsessed with her, and you need to stop. He says, I'll just make more accounts, and I will ban every one of them. I don't care. You can make 5,000 accounts. I'll ban 5,001.
Real talk though, why is BIT being treated worse than Kirk right now? BIT's only transgression really is being a weirdo spamming romance cat. Kirk, on the other hand, was an actual racist and nuisance in the chat, making people upset with his comments. Like I said earlier though, if DSP took such an issue with this, why did he let it go on for as long as he did? It's not like it's gotten any more creepy as of late, it's the same amount it's been for months. But let me get this straight, if BITW Awesome tries to ban evade, DSP is gonna crush his skull, but if it were Kirk hopping on his 9,000th SOK account, DSP would continue to let him skate by? I don't think that YouTube needs to be the morality police, and I definitely think that they make mistakes, but it should be telling that Kirk got IP banned and BITW Awesome is still allowed to have his entire account and be banned nowhere. At least BITW Awesome adds some sort of mystique. Who is he? How does he have the time? Why would he even bother? Kirk, on the other hand, he's just ignorant, obnoxious, and attention seeking in all of the worst ways. That's probably just it though. All of the words that I just used to describe Kirk, ignorant, obnoxious, attention seeking, blatantly racist, could also be used to describe DSP. And you do know what they say about birds of a feather. They always flock together.
If you don't behave, I'm going to fucking remove you. You're creepy, dude. And it's weird because sometimes you're actually very positive when it comes to certain playthroughs. And then other times, you're the biggest fucking creep. You have to understand there's a line that's drawn, and you're crossing the line when you're talking about my wife. So I'm going to publicly say it now. Shut the fuck up about my wife. If you put her name in your mouth again, I'm going to permanently ban you every fucking time I see you on site. Period. So shut up. This guy is fucking weird as shit.
how incredibly cringe to use a similar style threat to the one Will Smith said to Chris Rock. It was cringe and lame when he did it about a harmless joke, and it's only worse when you do it, because everybody knows if it came down to it, you'd never have the courage to even do what Will Smith did to back up his words. This fake tough guy that he's presenting as on screen is incredibly embarrassing, and the exact reason you're best not handling this situation in this manner. Of course, DSP just can't help but take part in a big public display of rage. It's almost like the guy has a very tenuous grasp on regulating his emotions or something. It's no wonder that he bleeds whales the way he does, and it's no wonder that he even bleeds normal audience members the way he does, when this is the way that he behaves on a regular basis on his own streams. I know that most of you typically keep up with DSP, but for those of you who don't and this is your first exposure, understand that this is not out of the ordinary for the guy. This is a common occurrence anytime that somebody gets under his skin just a little bit.
How about this? How about you publicly apologize right now for your behavior, and then we can say, this is water under the bridge. I admit I've been really creepy and weird for years. This is now water under the bridge, and we'll just move on positively. But if you're going to continue the awful behavior, I'm going to fucking remove you. And I have to do this publicly because people see this every day on my streams. They see it every day in my video comments, and they look at it, they say, what the f? You guys don't even know. This guy leaves endless amounts of comments on my videos that I delete. Gross shit about my wife. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying, you fucking weirdo? How do you not understand that's crossing the line? I don't get it. How do you not know that?
So you're meaning to tell me that there is an endless amount of BITW awesome comments that are gross and far worse than what's being approved, and yet DSP continues to approve his romance cat comments? Something just isn't adding up there. If this were true, if this guy was saying a bunch of horrid things in his other comments and DSP was seeing them, why didn't he just ban him outright then? Why would he put up with this nonsense? If it were really as disturbing and creepy as DSP is making it out to be, why wasn't he banned then? This, folks, is one of the many reasons that you don't want to paint yourself as a liar in the eyes of the public, because the second that happens, everything you have ever said and will ever say will be called into question with little to no exceptions. Because if that is the case and DSP is telling the truth, as rare as that is, then I would be on his side, no questions asked, but the way he talks about it and his actions, they just don't match up. That is the end of the exchange, though. The current standing of BITW Awesome in DSP's chat remains unknown. It is thought that the subject remains at large, however, and he could be in a chat near you, so please stay safe and be on the lookout. And while that might be the end of the BITW Awesome exchange in DSP, it's not the end of the cat mentions for the week, because just a few days later, during one of his incredibly boring Elden Ring streams where he smashed his face into the Radon boss, he was interrupted by Cat, and this is the following result.
Of course, as this is going on, something's going on with my wife as well. So now my mind isn't even on the fight. Like, I'm literally not even thinking about this right now. And I'm supposed to try to beat the hardest boss in FromSoft history with shit going on with my wife at the same time. I love it, right? Like, that's just my fucking life. I can't just, like, you know, focus on one thing. There has to be 17 fucking things going on at once to piss me off.
17 things? Dude, you do nothing all day, every day. How is one text from your wife such a major inconvenience? And that's really all it was. In between his attempts at the boss fight, she had messaged him, and he had said nothing when it came through, read it, and responded. So what message could have been received that warranted this kind of reaction upon dying to this boss yet again? It's just crazy to me, and I'm sure many others, that this guy, who lives the way that he does, making his money playing games, leaving his house only once a week, no legitimate adult responsibilities, could be so miserable and unappreciative. Regardless of whatever was said through the text, the stream is his job, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You really shouldn't be allowing that to affect you and in turn your stream. That's just not the professional thing to do, and that's the adjective that DSP tries to use to describe himself all of the time: professional. So it's not like I'm holding him to any sort of standard that he supposedly doesn't already hold himself to. If you ask me, of course, I think he's a far cry from professional. I mean, look no further than him constantly burping into the microphone. But again, that's how he describes himself, so that's the standard I have to hold him to.
Okay. Alright, let's put the part. Yeah, so this is extra frustrating for me, guys. Because as you know, stuff's been going on with my wife, and now she's texting me stuff, and I'm worried because she thought she was going to be coming home earlier, and now she's not. And and now she's stressed out, and now I'm stressed out, and now I gotta try to fucking do the most challenging thing in Elden Ring ever while this is also going on. It just has to be that way, right? Like, you can't be like, okay, I can focus on this, and I know it's tough, but I can be slow paced and learn. No, now I gotta have all this personal shit also going on at the same time, so now it's like doubles the stress, right?
How could the information that she's not getting off early be such an issue for DSP? How could working till what I would assume is her normal time be such an ordeal? Is this somehow related to the aforementioned health issues? I would imagine that it must be, because he led by saying that we know things have been going on with his wife, which to me only confirms, by the way, that the medical issues previously brought up are in fact about Khet, that she has something specifically going on with her rather than him. And if that turned out to be true, if it turned out that Khet had, let's say, diabetes or something, I don't think that anybody would be surprised given how her appearance has changed so rapidly over the past couple of years. I still fail to see how that relates to what time she gets off of work though. I am happy nonetheless that it stressed out the guy though. It really couldn't have happened to a nicer person. It also couldn't have happened at a more amusing time. Not that Radahn needed any help smashing DSP to dust, of course, but it definitely added some salt to that wound. Honestly, it serves DSP right though, the way that he flaunted around as some sort of god gamer after beating Melania on his second run. The smug that he radiated, and honestly continues to radiate, was awfully grating, and he needed to be put into his place properly.
And once again, it's stuff that I can't do anything about. It's not like I can handle it, or hell, I just gotta know that it's going on, and I have no control over anything. That's the worst part about life, is when stuff happens that you can't affect. You know what's going on, you wish you could fix it or improve it, but you can't. You're just helpless to do anything about it, yet it's going on. And it's like, oh, great. Well, I'm going to take a few minutes break here before we go in. But as you can see, I'm doing way more damage. I'm learning to dodge his attacks effectively, which is what I need to do. Not just stand there and aimlessly block like an idiot. I'm going to dodge all his attacks and smash the fuck out of this boss. That's how I'm going to beat it. So thank you to Habib Gaming. Thank you to Black Rose X Dragon for all of those super chats. Obviously, I wasn't updating the leaderboard. Now I can take a few minutes break at least.
Yes, all of that dead air and talk about super chats was left in on purpose to remind everyone just how low energy and awful these streams are, because that kind of experience is far more common than it has any right to be. Would you look at that though? Yet another thing that DSP can't control, and there was nothing that he could do, dude. Truly life's biggest victim, despite all of the free handouts and windfalls that he's experienced throughout his gout-ridden lifetime. Obviously, all of those successes can be attributed to Bappa's beast of a work ethic.
No, I'm gonna take a break, but there's nothing again, people are like, take a break. It's your wife, this can wait. Yeah, but there's nothing I can do. What you have to understand is, again, in life, it's not like, oh, I can go fix. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing that I can do or have any input into doing anything to fix. I need a breather to just hang out with you guys for a few minutes and relax. That's the best I can do. You know, I can't do anything. I love it. That's the, as you get older, you'll understand this too. You know, it sucks. When I was younger, I was always the kind of guy, and I was like, oh, you know, I can fix anything, I can do anything, you know. And now that I'm older, it's just like, yeah, basically half the time in life you're helpless to the shit around you. There's nothing you can do to improve a situation or fix anything at all, you know. Like there's nothing I can do at all right now of anything. so I just sit here frustrated, you know. I just sit here frustrated. Oh well. And now I'm going to try to go back in and try to fight this boss. Pissed off about life, right?
You'd think by the way that he's talking that there was some sort of family tragedy, that there are going to be serious repercussions that will follow today's events or something. I mean, he sat here treating his streams as his own personal vent session, his own therapy. That's not the point of this, or at least it shouldn't be the point, because that's not exactly a fun and chill environment. You know, the type of environment that DSP constantly spouts that he tries to create for his audience. I don't know how he expects to keep his genuine fans entertained by talking about this, but I do want to take the time time now to remind everyone that this was all brought over from a text message where the only known result is that Khet is going to be home later than expected. And somehow this has become a big enough issue that he has to take a real life break from playing video games to cope with the situation. I'd like to believe that something serious is happening in the Snort Fort to justify his actions taken here, but when it comes to the guy, he really can make a mountain out of a molehill. So is this just another example of DSP being ridiculous, or is something legitimately going on? No one will ever know unless he says something.
Ugh. Ugh. Nothing. You can't do anything to make... If I can't do anything to make it better, how could you do something to make it better? You're nothing. There's nothing that can be done. That's just, again, that's just life. When you get old, you have to resign yourself to things in life. And this is a case where shitty stuff happening, I can't fix it. You can't fix it. Nobody can fix it. It's just a matter of I somehow now need to learn and beat the toughest FromSoft boss in history, supposedly, because I'm not convinced he's tougher than Melania yet. But I'm supposed to do this while all this other stressful shit is going on in real life behind the scenes of the stream. It just had to be exactly the same moments, you know?
If it's really that big of a deal, then end this stream, man. There was no one physically keeping you here. If it's really that serious that you're this pressed, go have a lie down. But if it isn't that serious, if you're able to continue to do your stream the way that you need to, then quit your crying and get back to the gameplay that you claim people show up for. I do find it interesting, however, that he attributes giving up and rolling over in times of strife as something that you have to do as you get older, when he's been doing that his entire life. I guess it does kind of make sense when it comes to DSP, because he's always had the mentality of a boomer. He's never adapted to new things very well, he's stuck in his old ways, he's got a questionable stance on people of other skin complexions, he has an inability to use Google. Still, I don't think that giving up is a requirement to aging, it's just a requirement to being DSP.
Ugh. 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 No, I would never be offended if you said that you wanted to keep me and my family in your prayers. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's the opposite. If anyone says that, that's ridiculous. Because when someone says, I want to keep you and your family in my prayers, that's a really heartfelt sentiment to me. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what's going on, but you want to help in some way, and you know there's nothing you can do, so you just want to have really positive thoughts about someone. That's a really nice thing to say, actually. You know? So thank you for that. That's something really nice to say that.
Unless, of course, those positive things include romancing Catherine, because if that's the case, it's a one-way econ class ticket to Ban World, buddy. Seriously, though, I'm surprised that he didn't take the stance that thinking about his family and keeping them in your prayers is also creepy and weird and completely out of line. He does kind of have a track record of taking odd stances, but speaking of odd stances, some of the comments, maybe not these specifically, but the comments from the last video nonetheless, so it's big ups to the 60 skulls. 713 says, LMAO, it's just unsettling and smug to watch him unbox stuff. You know his parents and Khet get this type of speech when he opened gifts at Christmas. And that's one of the many reasons that I just think that DSP's unboxing content should not exist on the internet. Who is it for? And when it comes to DSP doing an unboxing segment on Christmas Day, you have to remember that Christmas can only take place after he does the Christmas pre-stream. Akai Crimson says, Filbert treating his losses in Street Fighter 6 the same way he does in WWE Champions, by inputting the 3 wacky digits for any on-sale advantage. Around $900 later and he still can't win even with Bison, a $400 joystick and console advantage on the PS5? Just keep spending, Filbert, you'll get there eventually. I said it at the beginning of this video, but this is what decades of wrestling can do to your mind. If you really think about it, DSP is the victim here, and Vince McMahon is the guy that's actually the the cause of all of this. It is incredibly funny that he spent so much money to be just as terrible as he always is, though. And Four Doors More S'more says, "That name always takes me so long to say, I never get it right." Jasper is downstairs crying at the moment. Also, it's amazing that he subjected his audience to a stream of fixing the old joystick earlier that day, knowing he wasn't going to use it anymore anyway. Just another example of why DSP is the master of wasting both his money and your time. It is incredibly disrespectful the way that he uses his audience's time like that and just wastes it away. It really is a wonder to me how he has an audience at all. I can't believe that anybody is willing to put up with that unironically. But speaking of putting up with things, I want to thank everybody for watching this video, especially if you made it this far. Hopefully I'll catch all of you guys in the next video, but until then, make sure that you check out other detractor content and dive deeper into that Snortex.
Well, gossip this, bitches.